Canada, the land of poutine and throwing people in jail for exercising their freedom of speech, is not doing great. Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister and brown-faced connoisseur, has done anything but help the matter. From lowering the tax-free savings limit, thereby disincentivizing responsible Canadians to save for retirement, to taking on thousands more refugees than any other country in the world with essentially no way to pay for them, JT is not helping out. One famous billionaire, Steve Eisman, who of course was portrayed by Dunder Mifflin manager Michael Scott in the 2015 film The Big Short, said he had invested billions in shorting the Canadian economy, namely 3 of the country's largest banks, CIBC, Royal Bank of Canada, and BMO. Now, Steve Eisman, going over Canadian banking financials, realized that impaired loans are going up year over year. Now, I'm going to go into the technicals of what that means exactly, but let's look at the other evidence as well. If you look at Google Trends, terms like payday loan and debt consolidation are rising and trending among Canadian Google searches. Contrast that to the United States, where the same search rates have been declining in volume since 2013. Furthermore, as of last year, Canadian students owe $28 billion in student debt to all levels of governments. Every year, more students are graduating with an average of $28,000 in debt, while recent graduates are finding it more and more difficult to find a job related to their degree. Now, the way you get in on this and actually profit from Canada's downfall is you short the banking stocks. So you can either take out a short position in a stock, which is very simple to do, or you can buy puts. Long-term expiration puts are basically a way of profiting if the stock price goes down. Now let's get into the actual technicals of what Eisman found in the financials. Under FAS 114, a loan is impaired when it is possible that a bank will be unable to collect all amounts due, including both interest and principal, according to the contractual terms of the loan agreement. Now, the Canadian banks have very low reserves to loan ratios. Why? Well, the banks are generally restricted by accounting rules from setting aside specific reserves until after there have been some form of impairment or loss, often referred to as an incurred loss model. This makes it very difficult for the Canadian banks to set aside allowances or reserves for impaired loans in advance of loans going bad. But things have been going bad. For example, at CIBC, BMO, and the Royal Bank of Canada, the impaired loan rates have actually grown quite a lot year over year. CIBC total impaired loans rose by 24%. Commercial impaired loans at CIBC were up 77% year over year as well. So of course, these responsible Canadian banks started increasing their reserves to protect against the possibility for further impaired loan growth, right? Wrong. Loan reserves have stayed completely flat. Why? Well, Eisman has a theory. If they had increased the reserves to protect against the rising default rates, they should have posted earnings of 14% less, he says. Next, we're looking at Toulon Moderna. On the week ending February 7, 2020, an official with the National Institute of Health said that Moderna's efforts to develop a vaccine for the coronavirus are proceeding with, quote, no glitches so far. Shares of Moderna, ticker symbol mRNA, shot up more than 10% after that announcement. On January 21st, Fauci said that it would take around 3 months for a Moderna vaccine to enter a first-in-human phase 1 study. Now the forecast remains the same. A non-governmental group called the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations is providing funding. Now, investors might see a parallel between this coronavirus and the Ebola virus from a few years ago. At the height of the Ebola virus, many pharmaceutical companies threw their hats into the ring and announced they were working on vaccines and treatments. Many enjoyed a short-term boost to their stock prices. In the end, Merck developed a successful vaccine called Ervebro that was distributed by the World Health Organization. The fact that Moderna is working with American health agencies likely means that some, if not all, of the research is being funded by federal grant. Consensus, this is kind of my lottery ticket pick. Buy options, call options on this. If they do get a vaccine improved, there's going to be a huge short-term jump in the stock price and you can profit. Try buying 3 to 6 months out calls Moderna. Hope the vaccine gets approved. And if it does, you should see a huge spike in your option value. Next, we're looking at GE. GE was once a powerhouse blue chip security and is now nearly a penny stock. And I think a lot of the reason they got into so much trouble is they kind of fell into the same trap that Apple did after Steve Jobs was ousted from the board while he was still alive and John Sculley took over. Apple kind of became the jack of all trades and the master of none. I'm looking at you, the Newton. GE fell down the same rabbit hole, add on to that messy accounting and bad management. But General Electric has since consolidated their business to just 5 core focuses, which are aviation, power, health, renewable energy, and financial services. And their most recent earnings were also very positive. They have new leadership under Larry Culp Jr., and the last year, GE boosted its industrial free cash flow guidance for the 2nd consecutive time. GE has been consistently boosting their free cash flow and cutting the fat. It has also made major changes to its pension plan and its troubled GE capital lending arm to slash debt. Those moves reflect progress in GE's deleveraging goal. They are my 5-year buy and hold if you want to buy stock, or if you're into options, buy leaps on those. Those are long-term anticipation assets that expire more than 1 year out. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more content, and just, make sure you make that little thumbs up turn blue. YouTube seems to absolutely love that.